Hi guys, today it's more van conversion. I'm not even going to bother saying what I'm going to do today, just going to get on with it because it never goes to plan. But the first thing I'm doing is taking out the seat, the double swivel seat, because I've got to reroute some cabling. So let's get the seat out and get it put out of the way for a few days. So seat's out. Now it's a case of taking out the swivel. So there's 8 mounting screws into the original van fixtures. Okay, so the cable's out. It was 3 meters, or fractionally over 3 meters long. The replacement I've got is 5, but I don't really want to run 5, so if I can get away with 3.5, that's good. Less run, the better. It's a pain taking all this out, but it's done now. That's grommet removed from up there. And the cable was run through down there. And there we can see the hole down in there. And that was where the rubber grommet was. So now to get the new cable through. Okay, so cable's through, grommet's neatly in place. It was off actually when I took the cable out. So the cable runs through another little grommet down there with a couple of other cables, and runs to there. For the moment I'm just going to put some electrical tape over that end. That end isn't going to connect straight to the battery. That will connect to a 30 centimetre long piece of cable via a fuse, and that 30 centimetre cable will connect to the positive on the battery. So I need to just make sure that runs nicely. That's about the right length through. So that's coming through up there somewhere now. It's no daylight coming through, the grommet's in place. So now it's just a case of running this cable neatly round, and instead of running it across the floor this time, down by the side of the handbrake and in, I'm actually going to run this one around the outside, around the back of the swivel chair, down the gap that is under there and along. Again, it'll hit a fuse, or probably an isolator switch, before it gets to the battery. Okay, so all the wiring and dashes in, dashes back, apart from them, but they ain't been in for a while. They're actually broken, and the last owner had siliconed them in, so to take them off, it was once they're off again. So I have to find a way of repairing them. But I've run a couple of cables. One was already there. This one is piggybacking, and that is this one is piggybacking, and that's for a dash cam. And the cabling's up in the corner, up behind there. I haven't got a dash cam yet, but the last one I had a generic cable. This I've just put another cable through, as I'm running cables through at the same time. You can actually run cables through without pulling the dash out, but that one's done. I've just put a Wago connector on the end just so the cable doesn't go back through the little hole I've made. So that's that in there. Neatly runs, the cabling runs down there, underneath and along, and now out there I've got 3 cables coming out. The big heavy duty battery cable, and I've also got a cable running direct to the vehicle battery, a tiny small one for the battery monitor, that will monitor the starter battery as well as the leisure battery. But that cable is not connected to the starter battery yet, but it's run through alongside that big fat red one. And the other cable is the other end of that one that I just showed you, in the fuse box there, and that's a just in case cable. There's bound to be something I need to run there. Now the seat swivel will go back onto the 8 studs. When you install it to start with, these front 4, you have to cut 5mm off the top. It's got a I'll show you on the back one. It's got a little bit of a flat, there we go, it's got a little bit of a flat collar at the top on these back ones. Where are we? There. Whereas the front ones I had to cut it off to allow the swivel mechanism of the seat. And I've just cleaned this up. Underneath here are the cables, and you tuck them away neatly. Now, a good tip is always check before you put your seat swivel back in. Go over to your ignition and check your indicators and your reversing light, because if you've made a mistake and you've knocked one of those cables out down the bottom there, then you'll have a warning, like your indicator light will stay on permanently, or double click to indicate that the bulb's broken, when it's not. It's just a connection broken down underneath the seat. And I've checked mine, that's fine. The seat swivel's ready to go back in. However, I'm not going to do that. Okay, there's the end of the 35 square millimeter cable that will go onto the fuse. And in there somewhere, oh, it's behind there at the moment, is the other thin red cable that I've run through for the battery monitor. I'm currently charging the battery with my Noco 10 battery charger. This is excellent, and it will be part of my setup in the future. But because I only do a few miles a day at most, the battery doesn't need, and I give it a treat once a week. I put it on charge for 12 hours or so, just to make sure it's not just draining down from starting and only running a couple of miles. So I'm going to put that in the shed. There's the seat swivel. Put them in the shed just for the next week or so. So on the end of that cable I've just shown you will be my electrical system, starting with 2 AGM 120 amp hour batteries. I've got 2 100 watt solar panels for the roof, and I've got the CTEK250SE with the 120 smart pass. So that's a battery to battery charger, far more efficient than a VSR, which I've had on my previous fans and I've not been overly impressed with. They've worked, but the batteries haven't lasted as long as they should. As for batteries, I cannot afford to buy LiFePo lithium batteries. I cannot afford to spend £800 or £900 on a pair of them. I've spent over £1,000, and that'll be broken down when I actually get onto my electric videos. I've already spent £1,000 just on the electrical system alone. The CTEK stuff isn't cheap. Batteries, again, solar panels, all the cables, all the bits, plus some bits I already had if I had that into the equation. So anyway, didn't get as much done again today. I had to go shopping for a couple of hours as I had no food, virtually no food left in the cupboards, and so I've got 2 weeks worth of shopping in, so I shouldn't have to go out now for another couple of weeks, which will be a result during this lockdown. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, thanks for your comments, and I'll see you again tomorrow.